Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. KSV managed the miracle turnaround here in game number 2, taking us to a third and final, a best of 1 to determine who will move on into the best of 5s and take on KT Rolster. SK Telecom had such a lead. They finished with a gold lead, but it all slipped through their fingers when Ambition found that fateful Baron steal.
Yeah, the gold lead meant so little. By the time we got to the end of the game, so much damage from Ruler this game. Live stealing up every time he was poked out, not dying. He had a lot of utility from the Zillion, but him staying alive, and he always being the one to walk up, invite any sort of poke, and then live steal through it, allowed KSV to delay to that point where 50-50 Baron is what they needed to close the game. Be surprised to see anyone else pick up the MVP. We'll see who it goes. This playoff MVP separate to the regular season, and it will go to Ruler. 100 points for this game 2 victory for KSV.
Yeah, picks that one up here for himself. We'll go ahead and just take a look back through the game. It was struggle streak for the most part. Ruler, again, KSV, they had this Skarner, but they just couldn't kill anybody because the damage wasn't there. But by the time we got to the late game, Ruler had plenty of it.
It almost felt like the Teddy win condition came online and they didn't play around the Caitlyn like we expect teams to. I'll get the sort of turret lead that's usually synonymous with going for an early rotation Caitlyn. But eventually the Gathering Storm and the items come together and Ruler was able to teamfight in a way. We've already had Bang and Ruler put in great performance. This is the World Finals we didn't get, where both Bang and Ruler are in great form. So it's good to see Ruler have a great game here. Still not a huge fan of the Caitlyn priority because it requires them to have to fall back for this long, to 40+ minutes. But they stole away the Baron and then made a very smart, decisive Elder call. And from there, they were able to close the game with Ruler sitting on 5,000 odd gold because they never actually fully reset and allowed SKT to get all their wits together.
Yep, just that one final push there through the bottom side. QV doing some work on the back there. Helps prep the Nexus to fall. But Ruler, you can see, still concentrating heavily here in the booth. No smiles after that MVP win. There's still plenty of work to be done as they get ready to go into this third and final game. Everything on the line now, but we hear that music, and we know that there's going to be a swap coming through.
On the SKT side, you'll notice SKT is on red side as well from the graphic, and it seems like it's time for some veterancy. So Effort is subbed out for the first time since he picked up the starting position 2 weeks ago. And Wolf will be playing the final game for SKT. So Bang and Wolf reunited. What does it mean? Because honestly, we don't have a great window to how this will affect the 2v2, which seems to be going pretty well from the side of SKT. It does help shore up some shot corner, at least offer a different opinion. Wolf known as a very opinionated player. Remember his trash talk at the start of this series. Now it's all on the line. Now it's this best of 1. Ruler and Core JJ versus Bang and Wolf. Not quite the same roster as took to the World Finals. And we will be seeing Tal still start here. No sign of Huni, of course, from then, or Untara from this season. Bang had a really good game on the Ezreal, but they couldn't quite get over the line. One really poor decision cascaded into the game ending. And now, with also the positions changing and KSV on the blue side, maybe we'll see the first meaningful shift in the draft as well, as there was a lot of overlap between the Game 1 and Game 2 strategies from SKT in particular.
Yeah, should be a bit of a transition there. Like you said, Wolf focusing on getting his starting position more than worrying about the enemy teams and getting a surefire way into those best of 5s to advance and face off against KT Rolster. Would probably give him just that. Get that starting position in that next series if they can close it out concisely here off the back of Wolf being the new addition onto the roster. So we'll see if they can pull it off. We'll see what they're going to put him on. Wouldn't be that surprised if it just goes back over to the Tom Kench, but well, that's going to be the draft coming in now.
The sound there was for the side selection because we will have KSV on blue side this time.
Yep.
Let's see what it means for picks and bans, because KSV have been banning Swain on red side. They actually have to ban on blue side. So if they go forward, they will definitely need to get more games onto the Swain for both Crown and QV. They're also forced to ban away Kai'Sa, not willing to first pick her. So in spite of there being 2 picks, they clearly don't seem ready to actually prize. They will have to ban those away, whereas for SKT, so far it's the same targeted bans, Vel'Koz and Camille on blue, now seeing them on red side as well.
Game 1, Gnar was the takeaway, then it was the Xayah. Azir going to stick through here from KSV, not interested in first picking it, so maybe trying to get that Xayah for themselves here. so the Ruler can play something other than the Caitlyn.
Vision has been playing a lot of Trundle in solo queue, but I'm not sure KSV will be willing to first pick it in the blue side like we saw SKT do in game number 2. Thought the Olaf matchup, the value was lower. They will ban away the Olaf, so we'll see what that means for KSV's priority. Xayah is left open for the first time this series, and we know that Bang will pick it up, whether it's going to be Xayah, Rakan, or no. KSV on Caitlyn duty 2 games in a row, but the power of the Caitlyn in the late game was all Ruler. It wasn't actually about the Caitlyn pick in particular. So we will see the Xayah first picked, and with a couple of incidental buffs to the Rakan, we will have the Star-Crossed lovers as the Rakan is taken away by SKT.
Wolf just going to go ahead, pick that one up, and then it's back to Old Faithful here for Blank. Zach will be locked in. No more of this Trundle nonsense for him. He's going back to the skin. He has his World Championship skin ready to go. Or the champion, rather, that he's got the World Championship skin ready to go on.
4-0 in recent history and has looked fantastic on the Zac. The backline threat with just Rakan and Zac locked in is pretty much a massive headache already. Side of KSV might have to lift off very early with the Feather Storm. Will Ruler. KSV will once again flex the Rise on the blue side. See what else they'll take first round. Could take a support here. And they will just take the Tom catch. So it's going to be safety for Ruler. Seems like most of the eggs going to be in the Ruler basket again.
It's been that way for a little while.
SKT wants something like a Cassiopeia. It could be taken here. That would be showing their mid lane early. I think FLICKR moving away from Galio is probably what a lot of people want. But because they have already 2 Wombo engages, they are going to lock it in. And once again, they go for heavy backline threat. This worked till it didn't in game number 2 until they made a decision-making error around Baron. It wasn't the comp so much until the comp was made to look vulnerable by losing the Baron into the Elder and then running out of options. So they will go 3 games in a row. It's SKT RNG all over again. So we'll see 5 games then and now 3 games in a row of Galio in this particular game.
Still looks like SKT thinking that perhaps this Rise will be flexed to the top side yet again rather than Crown using it in mid as they ban away that Karma.
Bang
Get one off the board, and the Caitlyn banned away there.
Bang not seeming to respect the levity of the situation. Just having a bit of a yawn, tactical yawn, we'll say.
They really think this is going to be a Rise top.
I think Crown's probably like, hey, I've played Rise, come on. But yeah, the Zillion is banned away, saying, what else you got? Remember the Malzahar is available. And a pretty decent pick into the Galio.
You know,
if he picks a Malzahar here, every SKT fan around the world will be triggered at the same time.
Just a nice little twitch as soon as they see it. But it's going to be back to the Ezreal here. Big smile on Crown's face. Lulu
mid lane would be a nice substitute for the Karma and a Doinby special from the LPL. We'll see if it's a mind game if we'll actually lock it in.
Well, they'll wait on it, at least for the moment, as the Trundle does come through for the jungle for Ambition.
They might do
show
this.
it yet again.
This would be a mid Lulu, you would imagine. But Talia is available and has been banned in previous series. They'll just take the Talia. Crown wanted to play with the hearts and expectations, say, hey, I don't have to only play supports. I could play the Lulu, but I'm going to play Talia. So different draft here from the side of KSV. If you try to walk up to the enemy turret and find a Trundle pillar and a Weaver's wall behind it, defending it is going to be pretty damn tricky. As SKT are left with the question of what do we want to lane against the Rise? It works in the mid lane. It also works in the top lane. We're going to see Cassiopeia top again, rolled back by top.
Locked in yet again, was oppressive versus QV in game number 1 when he was on that gangplank. We'll be going back at it here in the matchup versus the Rise. QV was a bit of a non-factor in game number 2. It's kind of chipped away at the Nexus at the end there, but otherwise never really had any big realm warps. We never saw any breathtaking plays from him on this Rise, but we'll just be moving back over onto this one to try to have a steadier performance here in game number 3. But versus the Cassiopeia, given how much prowess Tall showed us on it in the first one out, it's going to be a bit of a difficult ride here for QV.
More competitive, though, in the laning phase for the Rise. Similar to the mid lane in that, obviously, you have a great gank setup with the Rune Prison into the pillar. If you get the Cassia flash down early, it's going to have to overextend a lot more to try to punish the Rise, and Rise can take situational trades and win them. But when we hit 3-4 items, it is difficult for the Rise to hit a side lane in equal scenario and actually be able to do anything against Cassio. This time Blank is on much longer range engage. He's not going to be on the skirmishing jungler with the pillar, he's going to be on the engaged jungler. But bouncy castle can certainly happen in this game, Achilleos. The Galio is rolled back, but there is, to some degree, some damage concerns as the game goes on, as Cassio and Ezreal will be the true threats from the side of SK Telecom T1. And this time the Trundle will be able to ult the Galio in the front line during Aftershock, and then when the Aftershock runs out, that's going to be some pretty low resist for the AP stacking Galio.
That's true. We saw some moments there from FLICKR overestimating how long he could stay in the fight and sometimes even just escaping by just a hair. He's going to have to be that much more careful with the Trundle on the opposite side. But ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Game number 3. This one's for all the marbles. Decides who goes on to the best of 5s. Who will take on KT Rolster as they try to advance through the gauntlet 1-1. All comes down to this final one. SKT versus KSV. Game number 3. Let's go. Fans hanging in there, joining us here on this Saturday evening, 7:30 p.m. As Elton John said, Saturday nights, all right for fighting, and these teams are certainly doing just that as we enter into the final bout.
We're entirely sold out all the way to the final, and of course not all the finals tickets have been released because teams don't know who's going to be playing against King Zone, so we have to wait the full information for that. Every other round sold out. Crowd here packed. They thought they were going to see an SKT 2-0. It seemed that way after Game 2 was so lopsided for the majority. One smart macro play followed through for KSV, and the KSV fans get new life. They can raise their signs. SKT have never fallen lower than 3rd in the playoffs. They were knocked out in the semifinal phase by KT Rolster in the Telecom War semifinal in summer of 2016. Rox went on to win that season, people will remember. But now we're here, and SKT and KSV, both backs against the wall. I'm going to show you some runes. Remember, there were some Rakan changes. When it comes to Rakan solo, higher AP ratios, and also pretty standard runes across the board.
Wolf right now, just pretty fiercely playing forward. Can take the tongue lashes from Court JJ. Not going to force him out of lane anytime soon.
No leash from the side of SKT. Means they are able to hit lane first, and a pretty happy time pushing in. Ezreal's underrated for his level 1. As he's just able to Q the minion wave off cooldown. You often take the mana flow bans. You just walk into lane, Q, get the 5 stacks, the Rising Spell Force, and then you can get the level 2, especially if you hit the lane first. Ambition, looking to go for a very early game. We mentioned, you blow this flash.
This with the flash forward, Rune Prison comes down.
A lot of damage.
That's going to be the pillar, the red buff as well to slow him up tall. Couple more hits, they'll finish him off. First blood goes over to Ambition, getting the ball rolling, but the poison at the end of the day will trade one back as QV dies. Flashless, both of these top laners now. Both of them going to be very exposed, and it's 1-1 on the board just 3 minutes in.
If you watch the replay, it looked like Ambition missed an auto attack or two, and it actually took an extra turret shot for them to actually pick up the kill. So while the minion wave will push back, not going to be ideal. And look at this, it actually ended up freezing largely outside the turret range. So that could return to this lane as well. Looked to be a clean first blood. People underrate how much damage press the attack level 3 Trundle can do. Trundle back in, and Ambition saying, well, I'm going to go visit the Krugs and make sure the return gank isn't coming from Blank.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and find Blank here. Double buffs on both of these guys as QV gets the Rune Prison down. Killer comes through, but Ambition right now more interested in finishing off the Krug. Will be able to do so.
Really love to get a replay to see my suspicions. It did look to me like there was a missed auto or two by the Trundle.
Bit of stutter stepping there.
Yeah, you know how it is. Sometimes that can definitely happen. Ambition doing his best to provide the shield for QV in the lane, as the minion wave was in an awkward spot. Still there, but he has backed away.
Gets out of there in the end as FLICKR rejoins here in the mid lane.
The ability to skirmish for this Trundle. I was watching a lot of it in solo queue because you can see it in the EU LCS as well. You walk up there, and with the press the attack buffs and just the fact that Trundle can instantly proc press the attack with auto Q auto in such a short amount of time. Oh. A lot of value there as we see some aggressive trading in bot.
Yeah, looking for the Devour there onto Wolf, but Very elusive, this Rakan.
Only level
Blank
3
is hovering nearby.
Blank, but that might force him to pull away because he's not level 4, so his engage range is actually criminally short at level 1, so he'll back away.
Just gonna take the Scuttle Crab here for now. His ambition is nearby, taking his own Krugs. After stealing away that of Blank.
Hasn't been that many press the attack junglers, so you kind of forget how much damage they can do. Shyvana, the famous one at the start of the season, but you can proc press the attack almost instantly, which is what Chomp, as an auto attack reset, is allowed to provide for the side of the Trundle. Just the base damage of the press the attack being higher means that your early trades do a surprising amount of damage. We're seeing it more as a power pick jungler, not just as the Olaf counter pick. It largely has been in other competitive games.
Blank finally able to get that Gromp. I believe that should give him his level 4 so he can try to catch up with Ambition, who currently is a full level ahead.
Was able to push in the minion wave in top lane as well, so he got a bit of lane experience through all of this. He was sapping some, looking for the gank. Now already a clean level 5, so Trundle accelerated. Very early Cinderhawk could mean turret dives and a return to the Cassiopeia. Speaking of turret dives, Crown on the roam.
Yeah, he's level 6. Weaver's Wall ready to go.
He's using
He'll
it.
throw it down now here. Tall, not going to be able to make it to the other side.
Also level 6.
Yeah, still going to be pushing out a lot of damage from Prison in. Seismic Shove comes through, and now maybe Crown in a bad spot, but no, the poison not going to be enough to take him down. Can't get that last bite off. But Ambition, he'll get found out looking for the blast cone. Flash forward from Blank, however, denies any escape. So yet again, a 1-for-1, this time on opposite sides of that top jungle.
Seems like they were given a bonus kill. Not sure why Ambition was on this solo mission after top lane. He was never going to be able to get to in time. Just focused on the top lane, wasn't looking at the mini-map. Bot lane.
Knock up there, but the Devourer to deny any further. As Ruler actually goes back in, gets the root down there onto Bang, but the damage going to be very lacking this early on in the game from the Xayah. Just a bit of trade damage there. It was a very aggressive spit out there as poor JJ just throws him back into the faces of the SKT bot lane.
A lot of map mobility in the early game. We often see Crown able to interrupt the recall.
Oh yeah, gets that one. Seismic Shove comes through. FLICKR misses the taunt, but will hold on to the flash.
FLICKR actually saw him walk past 3 range minions to interrupt, and I'm sure that triggered him as well.
Yeah.
We get to watch the replay of what happened here. Ambition, he decided to walk up and try to interrupt FLICKR, and then FLICKR just turned onto him, realized there was not going to be any value in the Cassiopeia. I feel like if you're in full understanding where the health bars are at, specifically with top lane, Galio was unlikely to go through, but you understand why Ambition made that decision. Unfortunately, instantly turned around when Blank was there as well.
Like now clearing out the Raptors. KSV is pushing around the side. Not going to spot him.
So
He's
low
dangerously
in his own
low.
jungle.
Yeah, the smite comes down. He'll heal up quite a bit there as he picks up the little bloblets.
Looks like he's been holding on to gold for a while. Imagine the Balmy Cinder will be complete. KSV can push up. It's been good to see the roams from Crown. Good to see him on the front foot. One of the reasons he was defaulting to champions like the Karma and to some degree the Vel'Koz recently is quick wave clear into potentially being able to hit the side lanes. Back interrupted by the Gleaming Quill there by Wolf.
Been a couple awkward backstops so far. FLICKR, though, finds himself with a nice little lead, at least for the moment. 70 to 65, so doing all right here. With this Galio and with the blasting one in the inventory, seems like he's still going to be looking for a pretty aggressive build, at least to start things off.
And Crown's been on the roam, so it's understandable he's not been able to open a CS lead. Given how tenuous the early game is for the Galio now with the mana cost and cooldown nerfs, the double nerf on the Q. Him going competitive is just fine. Waiting to see the first hero's entrance to the game, and he's going to be able to hit the side lanes. Flash is back up onto Tal, and very even in terms of the CS in the top lane. Notice that Tal will be most likely going towards the Abyssal Masters game. It was nerfed on patch 8.6 in terms of the size of the AoE. So for the Cassiopeia especially, it's going to be all about being in pretty close proximity. Usually it's going to be a tank-only item, but you're going to see it here. It might just be a Negatron for laning phase, but probably going to be the Abyssal Mask Rush just to try to deal with the rise damage.
Blank right now in the river, will get spotted out by the Dragon Pit. See if he's starting this one up, can't quite tell. Yeah, we'll go ahead as FLICKR throws in. He wins there, but they will have to kite back as Ambition arrives in the vicinity. Shot barrage thrown down. Roller takes a bit of damage, as does Core JJ. They're looking for that knock-up. Don't quite find it. He'll pop the gray health shield. Keep himself as topped up as humanly possible.
When the Drake wasn't free, they were looking for free damage onto Ruler and Core JJ to at least make something out of the rotation. Vision walks in. I don't believe he was spotted, but obviously can be seen now.
Great
Interrupts.
deny on that pillar. Like, gonna try to get himself out of here. They'll just let him go.
Could have tried to get the let's bounce out of the Zac, but in the end, decided to pull away. Cooldowns back up. A lot of map play available to KSV. Realm Warp. We already mentioned how much synergy there is between the Weaver's Wall and the Pillar of Ice when it comes to sieging. They also are not as much of a timer, as Xayah can happily lane. We all know about 3 or 4 item Xayah power, rather than just being focused on the Caitlyn and what she provides with the Shiv and the BF sword. So very much, we're incrementally moving forward. And then the value of the Trundle this game should be very high, as both Zac and Galio are guaranteed to be in the front.
Yet again, another deny there is Ambition. Will get caught. Core JJ now arriving with the Abyssal Voyage, however, and Wolf is on the roam up as well. FLICKR very far forward. Taking a bit of damage, but overall seems like he might just be okay. FLICKR has to flash away, actually, in the end, as Wolf dashes out as well. Last cone, if they want to take themselves out to safety, but almost certainly would have led Blank back into the enemy team, so they hold out on it for the moment, but now KSV, they can go ahead, hover forward around this Ocean Drake and likely take it for themselves. True Shot Barrage used to try to just go ahead and weaken the members of KSV, but it's not going to be fighting too much, as Cube cuts off Tall as well.
Should be a free Drake here, but teleport from FLICKR.
SKT, they're looking to fight perhaps. Ocean Drake going to go over to the side of KSV, but can they make it out of here with their lives? Miasma thrown down. Blank might just be the first one to get popped. He jumps out with a Let's Bounce, still manages to stay alive. FLICKR goes forward, Justice Punch in, gets the pop up there onto Ruler, who has the flash, but the Devour will be used to get him over the back of the wall, and Ambition uses his own flash. KSV, nobody goes down, they get the Ocean Drake. SKT, we're looking for a fight, but they just can't get any kills.
Insane how much was expended for no one to die, just the Ocean Drake will be claimed for KSV. A lot of summoners down, though, that can be returned on by both the Hero's Entrance, the General Engage from SKT, or even just the Weaver's Wall coming through from Crown. So a very severe cost in terms of summoners, the top lane and supports. Actually, I should say top lane and bot lane, the only ones who exit this with their summoners up. Juve able to return very quickly to the top side and will push in. Miraculous that no one died.
On a knife's edge, pretty much. For both of those squads, several members going down, almost no HP. I'm surprised Blank didn't get his passive pop there.
And then Ruler was at the back of the fight and desperately didn't want to use Flash and was waiting for the Devour to be available over the wall by Core JJ. So a lot of summoners being matched there.
Well, they fought that hard for an Ocean Drake. We'll see how hard they fight for an Infernal when that one comes up.
Seems like because of back timings, we're seeing a different build from Bang. He was, for the longest time, one of the most inflexible on Ezreal. Mana Moon very early, sometimes before Sheen if he had the right gold, but seems like he's going to actually rush towards a Trinity Force, possibly because of the gold timings in this game. No Iceborne Gauntlet, no kiting, going to go for very much 2-item power. SKT do know that when it comes to 80 carries in the late game, 40 minutes plus, they certainly will not be able to match Xayah. Comes to the amount of teamfight damage they can pull off. Cassiopeia can be very strong, and Ezreal Cassiopeia can kill a frontliner, but it feels like with Trundle, KSV will do that better. SKT largely trying to play around timings. 2 items on Ezreal, we always quote. It's definitely where SKT are going to be mostly looking to find their big lead in this game.
KSV roaming to protect Ambition here, as maybe they look for a blue takeaway. Blank at the Gromp at the moment. Will be perfectly safe. They're trying to drag this over to the side, secure this for Crown if they could. Smite is available from both of these junglers. And will have to be used, so Ambition takes that one for himself.
Play pattern against a Zac jungle is to invade and heavily ward the camps as deep as possible to understand which side of the map he's on. Trundle is pretty sticky, able to also get away pretty easily with his extra movement speed, and they have also the Abyssal Voyage to roam first, so...
Looking for a cutoff onto FLICKR. Weaver's Wall comes through.
Realm Warp as well.
Realm Warp is there to try to cut him off. FLICKR going to have to kite into enemy territory. Flash is not available. Pillar to slow him up as they just keep piling forward. Be looking for the Rune Prison. Flash forward, Cube will get taunted up. Hasn't used it yet. FLICKR is buying quite a bit of time.
Watch on the minimap. They're getting a lot of value in bot lane, trying to take a turret for this. SKT, FLICKR will eventually die, but trying to hit the map and punish them elsewhere after FLICKR goes down.
Ruler and Core JJ will make their way back in. There's not enough minions for SKT to finish this off, but they get quite a bit of damage in. So dangerously close on that.
Juve had to use his summoner as well. It was a good timing from KSV. They were going to get the kill eventually because Tal was in base, so there was no way for him to truly react to that play. See what else can happen around the map after the kill, because Ambition is spotted on the Rift Herald.
Not much that Tal can do about it. Blank is all the way back into base, and now he's got some help from Cube as well, so will just be another Rift Herald going over to KSV. And with a decent amount of damage being chipped away at there onto that mid-outer turret, KSV might just be able to make that play and open up the map significantly for themselves.
Could even be put in mid lane, as mid lane turret has already fallen to about 50% HP. Just incrementally chips away from the ranged auto attacks from the Talia and the couple of times that FLICKR has been out of lane.
His absence hurting that turret, probably more than anything else. Bot lane as well, still going to be nicely prepped for SKT, so the race for that first brick is still on. SKT would love to deny that away, but with Bang all alone in the bottom side, might be a little bit longer.
SKT choose the wrong engages this game. That's where I feel like truly KSV will overpower them.
Oh, they're gripping up on the bottom side. Elastic Slingshot being channeled here by Blank, but we'll see Crown come around the side and go ahead and peel back, but Rulu takes a lot of damage in that exchange.
Really good communication from the KSV members for Crown to want to roam bot lane. Notice he was roaming without Weaver's Wall. That wasn't a proactive roam. That was defensive coverage, expecting enemy jungler to be in position to try to take this first brick. So First Blood turret could have been in multiple different lanes. It's going to end up being the bot lane turret for SKT after the punishment to that turret was put down after the extensive follow to kill FLICKR for the most recent kill.
Well, they swing themselves into the slightest of gold leads here. They try to stack up much more than that. Classic Slingshot now, maybe in the mid lane, but no, canceled immediately there by Blank. Crown will be safe for the moment. He's got the cleanse, he's got the flash still available, so likely would have gotten out of there, but is fortunate enough to hold on to those summoner spells for a bit longer.
It's about control around Infernal. The vision line is much more aggressive from SKT. They can see both the red buff and the Raptors, so they're able to have more information to look for and engage from Blank and FLICKR. Infernal spawning in 5 seconds. This is going to be pretty hotly contested, you would imagine. I think both teams are feeling like with the right fight they can pull something off, but notice that flashes are back up outside of Cuve's on the side of KSV. The play pattern here for KSV is disengage whichever initiation, pillar behind into the ultimate, the subjugate from Ambition, and then they have a lot of damage on one person. Ezreal and Talia are pretty similar in terms of champions. They can only really damage the front line. Front line is going to be much more exposed with the subjugate. Here we see SKT looking for the contest.
Shot comes through, Blank jumping his way in, already knocked down to half HP, and the rest of the members are cut off by that Weaver's Wall. He gets the kidnap into the knockup. Good wombo here from SKT, but they need to get the kills. The first one comes through. It's going to be the Xayah going down. Ambition able to trade one back, but Tal comes around the backside. Core JJ flashes out, but Tal just sinks the fangs in and takes him down, and now Cube gonna have to use that Realm War, but the flash forward, the taunt from FLICKR, they'll deny it. It's a double kill to the Cassiopeia, and now it's gonna be an Infernal Drake to SKT.
Eyes were only forward for KSV, but the vision wasn't there, whereas SKT knew what was happening behind the play. Got Tal into the back line, which is a crazy place for Cassiopeia to be. Able to get there, able to get the flank. They get the Infernal. It was never finished throughout the entire fight. As Bang's gonna able to pick it up, and SKT trade up. It's at almost trademark time, but not after 20 minutes, so no Baron to turn on to.
Go ahead and get another look at this. Blank, it seemed like maybe this would just crumble for SKT given the focus, but this wombo right here.
And of course, as Akasio tunneled on, what a great Weaver's Wall. There's no way for Ezreal and Rakan to respond to this, but Rakan gets the first damage. Ezreal can, of course, damage over a wall with his Mystic Shot, and the deep vision allows Tal to come into the red buff in order to get a position on the back. KSV thought they could kite down. They didn't have vision control to know where was safety. There was no safety in a nice fight by SKT.
It was just a series of one-ups. It was what a nice Weaver Wall, what a nice kidnap, what a nice knock-up, and then, you know, TP from Tal into the flash taunt from FLICKR. It was just constantly just adding more and more on top. And SKT, well, they went out on that one. Infernal over to them. Find themselves down slightly as far as the gold is concerned, given the extra turret falling in favor of KSV.
The difference between the two teams was vision. I honestly think the vision there to allow SKT Get such great backline access. A flanking Cassiopeia was actually able to happen in this particular series, and that gets a lot of value onto the side of SKT. Definitely the part of the series where you wish it was best of 5.
Yeah.
As there's been so much parity in this third game.
It's been neck and neck so far. There's the 700 gold separating, which doesn't really matter that much here at this point. 20 minutes in. Be looking for multiple thousands ahead for a team to have a clear advantage.
But you could see from the player mentalities in the pre-match trash talk of, well, we were surprised we got here. I don't know if we deserved to be here. We finished 9-9, 50% win-loss. And now they do have to actually earn the true best of 5, the true playoff scenario. And that's why we have a packed house here. That's why there's so much tension. It seemed like SKT were over the hump in game number 2. Clearly the answer was no. Now this game is basically even at 20 minutes. What more could you want?
Yeah, I mean, I already talked about, this is KSV kind of earning their way into the playoffs truly after being qualified because of the efforts of General. Hold the thought here as Ruler gets jumped on, but the Featherstorm takes him up. Doesn't have the root there onto Bang, so it seems like he'll just be okay. But it's also the same thing for SKT. It's kind of a trial by fire because they have lost to Kingzone, KT, and the Afrika Freaks. All of the teams waiting for them in the gauntlet. 2-0 as this season has gone on. Core JJ, the Nice Devourer will keep Ambition alive. So both teams have an immense amount to prove. This victory will be instrumental to that. Ruler going to get caught out this time. Does not have the Featherstorm. He's going to get popped. Blank finds the kill. Will not get the kidnap for a follow-up as the Devourer, and again, denies Ambition there, going over to the side of SKT.
Mid lane priority. Mid lane priority is so important. They got the reverse engage. Second follow-up there. Was enough for the side of SKT. Nicely done by Blank on his now trademark Zac. He's wearing that 2016 World skin. Trying to get himself into the form that saw this pick so respected. No bans towards the Zac in this entire series. Finally see it in game number 3. KSV can rotate everyone over, and it will be difficult, once again, with a fairly close range comp to actually siege down this mid lane turret. Ruler off the map for a bit. Another little injection of blood and fuel to the side of SKT.
They bring it pretty much to even here, even with that tower discrepancy. So SKT going to be in a nice spot, and they're only going to get more and more powerful as time goes on, given that they have that Infernal Drake. Next thing that KSV could try to pick up would be another Ocean, which has certainly fallen in priority ever since the changes to Cloud.
Especially as third spawn. First or second, you're okay with it, but at this point, you're wishing it was any of the other 3. See if Cassiopeia can actually get a big damage item complete. So far, only the Seraph's Embrace for true offensive power. I guess we should mention that if you are in range of the aura, it is a 15% damage amp on the Abyssal Mask from the old 10%. But the ranges do change things. I remember when Abyssal Scepter was changed, and there was a pretty stark difference in who was a good user of the item and who was not. And right now, Cassie's going to have to get pretty close and personal to get full value out of the Magic Resist Shred.
Like maybe a Void Staff on the way. See where Tal wants to go.
A couple of different ways you can go. You could go control build, honestly. You could go for a Rylai's if you really wanted to try to keep people in place. But I think Void Staff is probably the right call, given how much Magic Resist stacking is there. And look at this. We do see a Xerxes special from Ambition. He's going to go for this build that we've seen in the EU LCS, where you go for... As we watch this play here, I doubt there's going to be too much going on here.
Ship's passing in the night, finally gets the pop there onto the Banshee's Veil. Pillar comes down, Faker cut off, but look at SKT pitching in from behind. Blank goes forward, finds the pop up there onto the Trundle, as well as Wolf just diving in here with this Rakan. Faker barely staying alive here. Manages to get the kill in onto the Trundle. He's still escaping with his life, and now Cube is just much too far forward. Blank will get the grab in, Bang jumping over. Tries to get a hit in with the Mystic Shot. Cube is still a bit of a threat here as a Rise.
His face rush is so fast.
But they are still going in for the fight. Minion's going to be body blocking here for the most part. Black going to get popped. Still has the passive to stay alive, and Bang is going on the offensive. Jumps forward. The Realm Warp takes KSV out to safety, back underneath this top outer turret.
So much happening again, but only one person goes down through all of it. KSV turning onto Wolf.
Yeah, Crown just taking the blast cone over the wall, looking for some hits there, but Wolf can just dash to the side. Bang arriving to help keep him safe. Faker, well, he's topped back up. He used the teleport. He's going to come into mid.
It's a game of almost so far in the mid game. So close to it being very, very heavy on the casualties on both sides. Mentioned the Zeke's convergence. Theory there. So you ult the target, you link it to your AD carry, and the damage amp actually comes from Trundle and not from the Rakan that we usually see with the Xayahs. They still find a Zeke's convergence, and the Tahm Kench can go for tankier options. A lot more value here. The advantage here compared to Xayah Rakan is that you get full value out of the Knight's Vow because it's a melee champion that is wearing it rather than the Rakan who's classified as ranged. So you get the full value there and also the Zeke's convergence. So that's going to be very useful in future fights where they try to focus down one of Blank or Fake.
Well, SKT, seeing nothing else that's easily obtainable, we'll just go ahead and pick up that Ocean Drake.
KSV trying to play around their vision line. They don't have any vision around the ocean. It's an Ocean Drake, and there'll be a third Ocean Drake spawning, which means that, well, you're priced in to put all your control wards topside. You'll deal with the Ocean Drakes later if the Elder actually spawns in the game.
Mission for now, holding the majority of the team's kills, all but one. And then it's just QV. Haven't been able to really share much with Ruler. He just has the 1 assist so far. Would have loved to have fast-tracked this Xayah, get him to such a critical point where he can just melt down the members of SK Telecom, but it's going to be a bit longer for that to happen.
New build is also the Double Zeal item. The Infinity Edge is 4th item, sometimes even later if you situationally need armor penetration. So at least it is cheaper to get to the 3-item stage, and it's going to get massive value out of the Zeke's convergence, but ideally, like you say, there would be more kills onto Ruler in particular. Still so tenuous how these team fights will go. Still a lot of overlap in how these champions function in the true 5v5. And we still haven't seen Weaver's Wall and Trundle Pillar into sieging. Sieging hasn't been a possibility for KSV because in every important moment in the game, SKT have had more forward vision than KSV has been able to find.
SKT now pushing in, trying to regain control over the Baron. Scuttle Crab, nothing they can do to deny that one away. Just wait it out, try to get a pick, and then maybe go for the Baron after that.
Need to find a way to get mid lane priority to KSV. Very, very difficult because they can't get even shallow vision to find the Zac, let alone deep vision to know which side of the map he's on. And you know he's around the Baron. Everyone is at this point in the game.
Oh.
Well, JJ kind of has to walk up and take it.
Mystic Shot doing quite a bit of damage there. Knockup comes through. Ambition gonna go low. FLICKR now arriving, gets the pop-up into the taunt. They should be able to kill him. Blank finds the killing blow. The Storm comes in though and rips FLICKR apart. A couple more shots will take him down and Crown from the side. Does manage to get rid of the Galio. But Bang, not feeling frisky, gonna go forward, jumps in, looking for QV. They will be able to take him down as Blank finds an extended double kill, and now Crown is on the wrong side of the fight. Everyone pouring in, looking to finish him off, will be able to do so. Tall finds it. SKT finally getting that mid priority here to take down the turret and maybe turn over onto that Baron.
KSV so aggressive, they thought because they had a 5v4 potentially could trade up. They lose the first member early, and I thought the blushes were spared when one answering kill went on to FLICKR, but they continued to opt in into their own demise. The Weaver's Wall ended up just locking Crown with the enemy team. They're on to the Baron, they are low. Ruler and Core JJ, can they do anything? Your first thought is no.
Tall is gonna have to tank this one up. We'll get chipped down steadily here as they just dip back and forth, in and out, but KSV, yeah, they can't get there in time. They were waiting for Ambition, didn't want to just send Ruler and Core JJ by themselves, so it will be SKT picking up the first Baron.
They know there's no teleport on Cassiopeia, so they say, well, with Realm Warp, we'll get there first, but Ambition has to give up his life just to be in the front line. He goes down, and then the last auto attack, and Crown also able to get the first kill. You think, okay, it could be over, but QV's a bit tone deaf through all this. They still don't have any control on the Zac, and he ends up just going down, and then Crown is there at the same time. It feels like they were all a bit desynced on the side of KSV. In the best of one for everything. That's the 2 kills further. That's the Baron further. And that's what KSV couldn't surrender to SKT.
Well, Baron Steel not going to be available this time around. Might have to just wait for the next one, but we'll see how heavily SKT can punish here with this buff for the next 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Got the Banner of Command also, which against QV and Crown is massive. And
yeah.
Ruler will have to have the pass-through damage to try to punish it at all. May not be the full value Bannon that dominated patch 8.4, but it's still going to be a very, very powerful option for SKT.
SKT now just pushing down to the bottom side. That's going to be the Bannon showing up. You can see still doing quite a bit of damage there to that turret as they chunk it out. And with the rest of SKT arriving, this will just crumble under the pressure being exerted here by SK Telecom.
We'll call this Bannon Worlds 2017.
Is it just going to fall just short here?
Well, I mean,
that
KSV
inhibitor?
have to find a way to repel it, otherwise it might be their own demise.
Otherwise, it's going to be renamed to Worlds 2016.
Oh, no.
That's exactly what they don't want. We'll be able to go ahead and kill it.
Trying to repel it does allow it to be repositioned closer to the ruler, so able to actually take it down. So Worlds 2017 won't this time be the undoing of KSV in this series. We can see if there's any returns here. The Banner of Command on a pretty damn low cooldown, but not a big chunk onto this outer bot lane turret.
Still not quite even halfway there. Seismic Shove not getting any hits. True Shot Barrage goes in, does do quite a bit of damage there to Ruler. They get the lockdown onto Wolf. Takes a couple hits, but Bang is just steadily chipping away at this turret. Will go ahead, knock it down. Inhibitor exposed in the bottom side. He is doing so much work with this Triforce Ezreal. Now they're looking for the play. Pillar comes down, Blank misses the grab, tries to kite his way back. Double root comes in as Wolf gets locked down as well. He'll dash his way to the side, and seems like SKT should be able to exit safely.
Very hard to commit. Ambition didn't use his ultimate there because Galio could easily come and join. Didn't feel like they could finish a kill, so they end up surrendering the inhibitor. Crown will be there to try to push minions. Ambition, not expecting them to still be here, SKT.
And Miasma comes down, but Ruler will be able to step off of that one in time. Gets the root onto FLICKR as well. Devour is there from Core JJ just to ensure that the Xayah will make it out safely, but SKT, they have 35 seconds remaining on this buff. They're looking to utilize that here in the mid lane to knock down this inner turret.
KSV just can't get a vision line to actually answer Blank, who every time he goes in is picking up a kill involvement. It feels like solo queue for Blank because he's never sighted. He's always able to come away from darkness. He might just go in.
Yes, he does. He's going to go ahead, drop straight in. Kidnap comes through, and Bang goes over the wall very aggressively and try to take down Crown. Gets quite a bit of damage in True Shot Barrage. Big shove comes through from Crown, however, chunks them out. FLICKR barely manages to stay alive with that Zonia's, but
he really wants
he's going in, but he just can't kill them. He gets so damn close, but he just cannot finish it.
And that's what a 7,000 gold disadvantage looks like. You had a BF sword on. People are dying. Achilleos back away. Won't be a game-defining moment. SKT do break the outer and the inner mid lane turrets. They fall back to an Ocean Drake. And SKT know they're one team fight away from the playoffs and from a date against KT Rolster for a best-of-5 telecom war.
KSV, they know that as well. They know that it's just one more lost fight. One more moment like that where they just barely let SKT escape. That can lead to them losing this game, losing this series, and losing out on the playoffs.
Problem for KSV is that everything that they have that seems reliable, because of their lack of vision, has become conditional. You think, okay, well, we'll hold the point and have to try and speed away. It gets interrupted.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked off, and Bang's got plenty of damage. Core JJ trying to arrive, does have the Devourer ready to go. True Shot Barrage comes through, and Crown will go down. Now Core JJ in a bad spot, has to head for the hills as all of SKT comes pinching in from the side. Blank to jump forward, Pillar comes down, will dissuade the Zac even further, but the turret's going to get killed. SKT keep advancing. They keep growing this gold lead.
Keep having control. We've never seen Weaver's Wall used aggressively around a turret. They've had to be so defensive. And Blank keeps leaping in. Everyone disengages. And another objective goes the way of SKT.
See the combo coming through. Blank jumps in. The chase from Wolf ready to go with the grand entrance, with the quickness.
Still
Blank
going.
goes in yet again, looking for Ruler. He goes up with a Feather Storm, tries to take himself out. Wolf has the pop-up, but they'll stop for JJ. They drag him back in, and he is going to fall. Ruler manages to just limp his way back over to the fountain, but SKT, they are looking to close this one out, and they want to do it quick. Super creeps pushing up from the bottom side.
They need the minion waves. That's all they need. Here it is in the top lane. Second inhibitor going down. Can they close the game here?
Gonna be looking for it. 25 seconds here on Core JJ. Several members low. They have to retreat, and now the double super creeps here into the bottom side. Crown gonna do his damnedest to clear these out. Can do so with relative ease. Bang is bringing up the mid wave as well. First Nexus turret focused down. Taunt comes in. Ambition flashes away, but it's not going to be enough. Wolf finds the kill. SKT, they're feeling it. They're looking for the finish. They're going to do this nice and cleanly as they take down that third and final inhib. Shove in there. Onto Blank. He goes low. Wolf commits. Hero's entrance comes through. They pop him up, and Bang finds the kill. Crown eliminated out of the fight. Cubase goes low. Tall pushes forward. He sinks the fangs in one last time, and he'll take down that Rise SKT, they lost in game number 2. The miracle turnaround from KSV, but this time it's clean all the way through. SKT will close this out. They will be moving forward to face KT Rolster in a best of 5. Another telecom war here in spring. And KSV, they get put into the playoffs at the hand of Jin Air, but they fall short in the first round.
The world champions will not be going to Rift Rivals, they will not be going to MSI, and the fairy tale of actually winning a domestic crown goes down for them. Sadly, they are defeated at the first round of the playoffs. SKT will go forward, and it ends up being well-deserved. I love the vision control and just the order into their play in game number 3. They would have been frazzled after losing game 2, but they squared up their gameplay. They played the more logical style and always had the map hacks compared to KSV, who were left dumbfounded for a lot of this game wondering, where's Blank, where's Zach? They never had that final bit of information, and every time they actually engaged, the Zach was there to punish them. So KSV do fall short. The tiers last week, they still made it to playoffs, but sadly, on this day they are the second best. That means they will not be going forward. No tiers, it seems like the expectations a bit different this time for KSV.
Unfortunate for KSV. We're brought back into this series by the miracle play from Ambition, getting the smite away on the Baron with that Skarner. They were competitive in game number 3, but once SKT got an inch, they took multiple miles, and there was just no getting back.
Felt like SKT really understood the enemy team comp there. Obviously, they've been practicing the Trundle. Were very practiced against it. No value out of the Trundle Talia. The map play was always second. They were always second best, sadly, for KSV. And while that was the story of them against SKT until the World Final, this will not be the silver lining for SKT fans. They will be happy to see that their team goes forward. It doesn't make up for the World Championship loss, but it does mean they can continue on and try to recreate their rush to the playoffs last season. They were able to run the gauntlet then, but were halted by Longzhu Gaming in the final. Now the telecom war with SKT, largely looking better week on week, performance after performance, largely sitting on the same roster as well. Gets all the more tantalizing, because while KT Rolster 4-1 ahead of their opponents this time, they have been able to get over that SKT curse in the regular season. Now it's the postseason, and postseason bang is really working out.
Yeah, we're just going well above the 1,000 DPM marks here throughout this series. Bang, yet again here with the Ezreal playing a wonderful game. And yeah, he just blows everybody up. As soon as that Triforce came through, he just started melting everyone.
Bang's Ezreal, famous for a reason, and SKT this time able to fight earlier before it was 40 minutes and the Xayah could really get going. Xayah was a bit stymied for impact because KSV as a whole were. It seemed like they had options, but unfortunately could never get their vision line in a way to actually wield the innate power of this Trundle comp. We'll see what it means for Trundle priority as 8.6 goes on, as we had 3 games of Trundle jungle, 2 of them losses in this particular series. It's all smiles for SKT. They are able to tame KSV on this day. They will be going to Rift Rivals in summer season as well. So they will finish at least 4th. And we look at the MVP race for the playoffs. Let's see who gets the nod, and it will be Blank. He brings back the Zach. Wasn't banned in game 1, game 2, or game 3. When he rolls it out, you remember, he's pretty damn good at the Zach.
Yeah, his staple pick does come through, so he and Tal will be walking away with 2 of our first MVP wins here for the playoffs. Ruler able to get one as well, but well, can't really gain any more. So his MVP run in the playoffs has expired. For Blank and Tal, we'll see if they can keep things moving when they face off against KT Rolster. Otherwise, it could also be very short-lived from these guys, but it was a very good play here on the Zac by Blank. Moved away from the Trundle here in game number 3, but went to his World Championship skin character and just dominated.
And again, if I'm going to be critical, it seemed a little too easy. It seemed like he had too much of a leash to jump in out of an unwarded bush and hit every team fight. The execution was great, but it was set up by the vision line that SKT was consistently able to both set up and deny from KSV. This was the SKT flank from the deep teleport from the Cassiopeia, getting the massive value. They picked up 2 kills on the back end and the Infernal in that particular case, and then this was the return gank onto Ruler. He had just done the same play a moment earlier. Everywhere Blank went, it was a success, and as you watch the replays, almost every time it was out of that relative darkness. We're going to watch another replay to Kidnaps were great in this game as well, and SKT able to fight with their tank line and not have the damage be a consideration like it was in game number 2.
Great body block there by Wolf, who also played a pretty fantastic Rakan, was always ready to follow up on the engages by Blanks. And communication going extremely well on the side of SK Telecom. The Wombo combo, especially around the Dragon, was one of the most beautiful plays that we had throughout this series. And Bang was just an absolute monster. Set up so very well for this Ezreal and just ripped them apart.
Nice seismic shove, but too late for it to matter. We saw another fight, this one, where Ruler was a BF sword short of killing 3 people, but KSV so near yet so far. They do pick up their first playoff season win by winning game number 2, but no match win. What they're really going to be focused upon, and the pile-in happened. No threat onto Tal, no threat onto Bang. No problem for SKT.
Well, went plenty of seasons without getting any. This time they get 1. Maybe next season they'll get 2, and then they'll be out of the wild card match, Papa Smithy. Maybe it'll just be that steady progression.
Hopefully they're in a best of 3 for that particular thing to work.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But for now, SKT are our victors on the day. We'll go ahead and hear from the entire squad as we throw over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translations for today's matches, and we're here with SK Telecom. Despite all the non-believers, they still make it through the next round, and they are in by getting a victory over KSV. We're going to have an interview with them. Blank, you received the MVP as well. How do you feel about today's win? You know, losing game 2 kind of got the nerves back again, but game 3, I'm glad that it went for our way, so yeah, I'm really happy about how it ended. It really was a Trundle jungle that has been very much used by you today. And it seems like the Trundle jungle has been rising in priority a little bit more recently, but how do you feel about the champion right now in that role? I think just from the champion pool that we do have right now, it's not bad, and it fit well with today's competition, so it looked a little bit better than it actually does. And of course, Tal, you very much do resemble Trundle in itself, but you pick up the MVP in game 1 and an absolute hard carry coming in from that first game. How do you feel? It was a very important game for us today, and I think, you know, we have all these friends and older brothers who are just helping out with the carry of the team, and I think we're trying to just keep working hard to get to the finals as much as we could. And it just seems like, Tal, you just put up a game of your career so far today. The first game, my hands were shaking all around, but it just seems like everything was working out, and I felt really good throughout the game. And a lot of people do compare during when you talk about the matchups, and QV was a little bit of a tough matchup for you. How did you feel about that coming to the pressure? I think, you know, him working hard allowed me to work hard as well, because, you know, I knew that, you know, losing against him before, I wanted to work harder to make sure that I win this time around. In first game, we do have heaps of highlights that we can show you guys, and here's one of them here. The first solo kill that came up with the ultimate here. Is there a specific tip on how you use the ultimate in regarding the timing? I mean, the first one, I just felt like the calculation was there. If I use the ultimate, I could get most of the damage to get the kill there, so kind of just a little bit of prediction, and glad it worked out. Your voice once again is kind of an impression once again as to how good it is. Thank you very much. I mean, who was the biggest brother that helped you out in cheering for you today? I don't really need to pick out one specific person, because all the older brothers, these guys really helped me out to get the confidence that I needed. Let's have a talk with Bang here. And Kaisa was your first pick of the day. We thought it would come out, but didn't think it would be an automatic lock-in for the very first game. Do you feel like it's a very good champion right now? After the patch came along, you know, I thought just theoretically it might be a good pick, but you know, we just tried to experiment in a little bit. Yeah. But you know, when I was trying to play in and on scrims, I played it a few times, and I only played it a few times, but I felt like definitely the potential was there. But I think I was thankful that the Kai'Sa pick went well for me today. And we have to look at this 3v1 play with the Kai'Sa here. A 3v1 literally by yourself over here on the edge. Did you feel like you meant to do this, right? I mean, at first I thought it was gonna be a lot easier than what it actually became. All the exhaust came through, and even with the Brown shield and the Karma shield, all the things that made it a little more tougher. So I think it made it look a little bit better. I mean, the Brown shield and the exhaust, I thought it was already gone out in the previous team fight, but I didn't expect they would put so much defensive effort in fighting against me here. So I felt like it was over when I first came in and I saw all those exhausts and shields come up. Did you know that Kai'Sa was so good at Kai'Sa with Bang? I mean, we thought the team fight was a little bit on our path, and I didn't think that he would go in that deep to going for that 1v3. But we actually, the rest of the four of us told him to just abandon him because we thought he was sure dead. Yeah, we told him that Bang's a goner, and we decided to leave him, but didn't think he was gonna pull that off. But after he got the ADC kill, we knew he got the rest of the kills as well. Of course, FLICKR and Bang both didn't think they were gonna come out alive in that 1v3, but a very nice play indeed coming in from Bang. Also with FLICKR, let's talk about you for a second, pulling out all the Galio tricks once again. I didn't think I put in a lot of damage today, so a little disappointing for me on my solo part. But as a team, did you feel like the Galio was an essential pick going into the composition? But we felt like, whenever we do have a composition with the Galio, our win rates are very high, so we depended on that a little bit. But I just felt like, you gotta have the initiation coming through, and that's what kind of allowed me the reasoning behind my Galio picks throughout today's series. And I feel like the current meta is still under experiment for a lot of the people right now in this current 8.6 patch. But how do you feel about how the meta is shifting around a little bit? I think the mid laning phase is not that as fun as it used to be, but when it comes to contributing your part to a team game, I think it does still serve a purpose. And now, of course, effort. You look a little bit nervous on the interview stage, and I'm sure with the inconsistencies that could come, especially with your first playoff experience, I'm sure that pressure was onto you. How do you feel about that? I guess if you saw the game, you definitely saw my performance being reflecting a little bit of my nervousness. But I feel like this was a good experience for me to actually get the scare out of the way. So maybe in the next round I'll have a lot better performance. And you talked about Wolf having a little bit of a sick condition that obviously didn't allow him to even participate in this interview, but how do you feel about subbing in for him? When I started, he told me to make sure that he doesn't play in today's match because he doesn't feel good. So, but I guess my performance had to force him out in Game 3. But I told him to make sure that to win this game for me, and he really kept that promise intact. And with Blank, Wolf did mention that if he still goes to the jungle right now, Wolf in the jungle will still be a lot more successful than you did. This is what it's saying. Yeah, I think he's really fooling around with the jungle role in solo queue, but I'm not really sure how to answer that question. I'm sure you have a comment to say about that. Oh, we actually had a solo queue game where the Wolf jungle and Blank jungle met up, so
거의 1대1이에요 지금.
But I think right now the win rates between us two are kind of even at the moment. 50% win rate for both of us right now. So I think we need a little more head count into deciding who the better jungler is. And this isn't the end for you guys by any mean. KT is going to be on your tracks in the next round of playoffs here. How do you feel about that match coming up?
요즘 KT 경기 보니까 좀 아프리카랑 경기하는 거 보니까 좀.
I think, you know, we saw KT play against Africa. I think they're really good right now. So, and we have to not have any gaping holes that they can really penetrate through. You have to be ready to make sure that you have to just go through and just make sure you have imperfections out of the way. A lot of fans are cheering on for you guys today. And do you have anything you want to say in regards to the next game coming up? We thank you all the fans for supporting us. And but you know, you told Peanut did say in his interview that he was going to be already on his way to the finals, and he's going to wait for us there. And but hopefully, you know, we can actually keep that promise intact to make sure that we also make it to the finals as much as we can. And that will be the end of the interview here, and that's going to be SK Telecom, despite all the non-believers, still making it through and still keeping their reigns intact. And we're going to see them in the next round of playoffs. And until then, we're going to send it off to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the translation and the interesting choice of words there. SK Telecom doing pretty good about that win. Unfortunately, could not hear from Wolf because he's not feeling well enough to do the interview there. Would have liked to have had his thoughts about coming in for the final game and whether or not he thinks he's going to be starting for the next series.
Really interesting series, and honestly, who's starting for KT in the next series? Is the Kind Boy back? It's very possible.
Right.
After that perfect
got
game
bumped up
over Africa, there's a lot of what-ifs about that particular series, but it's a telecom war also. It's a best of 5. We'll get more time to speak about all the intricacies of 8.6 because we got a lot of 8.6. Today was definitely a big shot of 8.6, and yet still there's a lot more to discuss. So the final OGN match of the season, brought to you by Atlas and myself. KT Rolster will be the higher seed. They finished the season in 3rd place. They will take on SKT. They have been able to beat them twice this season, but now it's where it matters. And KT Rolster, when it matters, have not been able to get there so often in the past. Does it hold true to the past? Is it a new future? Will SKT keep climbing the gauntlet? The what-ifs are getting really exciting, Achilleos.
Yeah, so big matchup coming up on Wednesday, and then, of course, we're going to have the final 2 moving forward. The victor of SKT versus KT going on to face against the Africa Freaks, and then waiting in Busan is going to be Kingzone Dragon X at the end of the line. Things are just going to get harder and harder as time goes on. Africa, they did lose that series. They did get perfect game by KT, but there's a lot of questions surrounding that. Were they just hiding strategies, or are they really just that much worse than KT right now?
And how much are their 8.5 strategies worth? On patch 8.6, we're already Trundles every game. The priorities are up and down. So much has changed, and if we know one thing, Deft's ready to pop off on the Kai'Sa as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll have that one in the back pocket, but that's it from me for the playoffs, guys. Atlas and Papa Smithy will be bringing you the Telecom War yet again here on Wednesday, so make sure you tune in for that and the rest of the playoffs as we move forward. I'll see you guys back here in the promotion tournament. But until that game on Wednesday, have a good night. We'll see you then.
Trust that you're able, and you just might find